time for another Beyond Canon update. This one is the one from October 25th of 2023, but we have a little bit of reading to do first because there was a news post beforehand, and I figured the way that probably makes the most sense to do this is when we read an update, I'll read any of the news posts that led up to that date, then I'll read the update, then I'll read the news post from that day. I think that sounds simple enough. So, we have the plan from October 18th of 2023. Hi, James here. First and foremost, what a launch. Glad to be back. Thank you for all the well wishes, kind words, and honest criticisms. The team and I are loving the energy. You have made us feel very welcome in a sometimes overwhelming space. In a continuing effort to be as upfront as possible about things, on the 30th of October, we are going to restart the Patreon, which, by the way, I am subscribed to. This was a sort of heavy decision that we understand may not sit well with some people, so we want to be forward with you about it. We want to allow people the time to sort out whether they'd like to stay subscribed or not. Patreon exclusive content will be made public after a few months. This will consist of non-canonical one-shot comics, behind-the-scenes visual development, sketches, storyboards, writer-artist update commentary, and a few other things that we will get into on the Patreon itself. I want this to be something you choose to do because you support what we're doing, and never because you feel like parts of the comic are being withheld behind a paywall. The comic will still update on the main site as always. Which I know that was one thing that people also didn't really like about the previous stuff was there were bonus comics that were canonical to the world, but were Patreon only. And those, I haven't read them in their entirety. I've skimmed through some of them, but they're now just on the website for free. So how will this time be different? This might be a lot to read for those of you who are not interested in this, but I want to do things differently this time. I want to give the readers as much clarity as I can afford. First up, we need to be very transparent about where the money is going. This time, we are paying all of it to the Homestuck Beyond Canon team. Unlike previous projects, we won't have a larger absent entity dictating what is and isn't necessary for us. This time, there will be no third parties taking large percentages of money that could be paid to the people who contribute instead. Every month, aside from basic operating expenses, web infrastructure, hosting costs, etc., 100% of the Patreon funding will go directly to the Homestuck Beyond Canon team. For the first few months, 80% will be split up evenly among current team of contributing members and technical crew. The remaining 20% will be used to back pay the current team's several months of work done for this initial buffer of updates. Secondly, the update schedule has been a hot ticket item of discussion. October will see 2 updates to get us started. After that, the plan is to switch to 1 update a month while we continue to produce more and feel things out a bit. If we are able to get into a groove, we would like to increase this number. I do not want updates to be tied to how much money the Patreon makes, though I won't pretend it wouldn't be nice to quit our day jobs and do this full time. The team has been building a sizable backlog of pages, which is sort of a new thing for Homestuck. All the hits are here. Aspect classes, you get it. We have taken a lot of care in developing and resolving story beats and character arcs and making sure a lot of these things happen on screen. Though some of these things will take time. We aren't even out of Act 1 yet. A lot of passion has gone into continuing and evolving the story we have inherited by a group of people who care very much. And so far, they have been doing it purely for the love of the game. In that regard, we are truly so back. After I have paid the team for this buffer and development time, that number will change to a 95% even split revenue share with the Homestuck Beyond Canon team. 5% each month will be saved in order to build up initial capital for those luxury projects that require some upfront funding, as pages, albums, merch, etc. The money made from those endeavors will still be paid to the individual artists. We can talk about a financial breakdown for that when the time comes, and if you still want to know. I do not mind. For the albums and merch, I want to do a much fairer split than the current system. The money would go to the musicians and artists. I do not have a company to run, so there is no reason for me to make money off of contributing creatives other than recuperating any cost, which shouldn't really be much. This is something I would like to work out with people individually, and I'm slowly beginning outreach to the old music team, so this may take a while. I am also interested in new blood in this capacity, so I'd love to hear from some fan music groups too. I will try and set up some channels for this in the coming months. There's a lot of work for us to do. I take it back. It truly is so over. I think that just about covers the plan. Here's the short version. Patreon's coming back. Money's going directly to the team. We operate independently from What Pumpkin and Viz. Another update in October. Starting in November, updates are once a month, and some percentage of funds is going to S pages and stuff like that. We're going to be updating the reward tiers, and we'll talk about that a little more in the future. We want to conclude the bonus update stories, but if and when we do that, we will probably tackle the important threads from those in the main comic so that things don't feel paywalled. Overall, I want to have more community involvement and engagement, and I think the first step toward crossing that bridge has to involve us being more open with the fans. Like I said, I'm actually subscribed to the Patreon now just because, like, when I heard this project was coming back, even though I wasn't fully caught up, I just loved the idea of a group of people who were passionate about it, taking the story and running with it. And they were putting out merch. They put out that little car cat plush pretty recently, actually, and just like all good seeming things for me. So I was like, I want to fucking support this at least a little bit. So yeah, I joined the Patreon, but yeah, this is, I really love how much they seem to be emphasizing the fairness and like non-bullshittery of the current strategy, because I know that pretty much the entire Hussey era was almost defined by its insane bullshit and like fucking like weird little idiosyncrasies and fucking like schemes. Even if they weren't meant to be schemes, they always felt like fucking schemes, and all this little like behind the scenes like, oh, pay no attention to the man behind the curtain type shit. And it's like, I think people got really fucking sick of that. It's nice to see that they're reading the room and be like, all right, we're gonna be normal. Homestuck community be normal challenge, whether it's the fans, the creators, whatever it is. Anyway, okay, so that was the 18th of October. And then we had an update on the 25th of October. Be Vrissy. This time we're starting on 455 and stopping on 475. Oh my god, they're in fucking jail because Vriska went apeshit like she wont to do. You are now Vrissy. You are locked in a deserted jail cell completely alone with Vriska. Aside from that, there is nothing at all in your cell, useful or yada yada yada. Vriska the Elder has decided to take it upon herself to test if you measure up to the arduous task of being a Vriska. First, for your first test, find a way to bust out of this dump. What will you do? Vrissy call for help. I like the sort of callback to like Jailbreak. IntelliChum. That's new. Tracking free chat client. It's like fucking Tor Pester Chum. You're pretty sure that would be an automatic fail on Vriska's test. But even if it wasn't, it isn't like you could message anyone. Not anyone worth talking to anyway. There's no service in here. The only bars you've got are the ones on the windows. Vrissy, get key. It's not a real key. Vriska drew this shitty key on the floor just in case you need a reminder of what you should be working towards. And if you would somehow forget you're locked in a fucking jail cell, as if you would somehow forget, Vrissy tried the door. Door doesn't seem to be working. You fruitlessly pull on the bars. Vriska says it looks like it's still locked. Yeah? No shit, you tell her. You're just trying to see if you can get a guard's attention. She says, ooh, that's a good idea. Vrissy, get a guard's attention. The Crocker headphones. You yell some colorful words at the sole guard on duty in an attempt to get his attention. Unfortunately, he has headphones on and cannot hear you. It seems like a hopeless situation. Maybe you should use some of your sick, nasty brain exploitables on this jabroni. Vrissy, use your sick, nasty brain exploitables. Huh? You apply the focused totality of your psychic power into this douchebag's cranium. Frustratingly, it looks like this guy is resisting your psychic enthrallment so he can get at that donut. Other than occasionally making Tavros dance when he's being boring, you honestly don't do this much. Your mom is always like, you need to listen to me, Vrissy. It's real important to keep these skills honed in case shit gets real. But shit so rarely, if ever, gets real. So mom should get off your case. Until now, you guess. Wow, do you hate realizing your mom was right about that shit? Anyway, lay off the fucking donuts and get over here, asshole. Hell yeah. Vriska's exit the cell. Damn, that felt good. After locking up the guard, you turn to Vriska and ask her what next. Vriska says that now it's time to fuck some shit up. You like the sound of that. You ask her if there's any specific shit or place she wants to go fuck up. She says you'll just walk around until you land somewhere cool. You both laugh. You ask her what the real plan is. She keeps laughing as she walks away. Okay, that's a lot of goons. Uncle Sam, fucking Jane. You suggest to Vriska that you should go the other direction. Vriska says, nah, this is definitely where we want to be. She says between the two of you, you've probably got enough luck to take this whole place off the map if you really wanted. You ask her what the fuck she means by that. She says, you know, like, with your thief of light powers. You tell her you don't have anything like that. She says, huh, weird. Vriska says that's perfectly fine, as she always prefers a challenge. Vriska Circuit, the daring thief of light, and her imitation Kid Vriska sidekick against countless foes. Marquise Spinneret Mindfang leading her neophyte blue hair. It's a tale for the... Wait, hold the fuck up. You ask her what the fuck does she mean, imitation? Vriska says to not let it get to you, but she's this face. She's pretty much figured out that this whole timeline is phony. You know, inauthentic, fake, bogus even. She says it's somehow the off-brand equivalent of a universe that, and she really hopes you kept the receipt. You assure her that both you and this timeline are in fact real as shit. She doesn't seem convinced. She says it's mostly from the little things she's noticed. You ask like what? She's only been on this planet for like a day and a half. She gestures vaguely and tells you to give her a boost so she can reach that ventilation shaft. Huh? You tell Vriska you think you want to do your own thing, actually. Nah, I'm gonna do my own thing. Vriska says, now that sounds like some shit a real Vriska would say. You roll your eyes and start to leave when Vriska calls out to ask if you're going without wishing her good luck. As you start to wish her luck, she cuts you off and tells you to keep it. She already has all the luck she needs. You say, okay, dude. I love, like, it started out with Vrissy sort of like loving that she found another person like her. And now it's like, nobody can be Vriska. Even the other Vriska can't be Vriska. Like, even she's just immediately like, okay, like, I like the whole fucking, you know, haha, I'm my own bad bitch rebel type shit, but like, come on, dude. Even Vriska is sick of Vriska's shit. Vrissy, do your own thing. Vrissy, do your own thing? The link didn't work for a second. Mind controlling the guards. Oh. What does this say? Don't discuss troop movements, ship sailings, war equipment. The fucking real hands on these posters, by the way, are killing me. She's out just like that. That was easy. Vrissy, check your messages. Typical Harry. Can't go 5 minutes without pestering you over something. You tell him to calm his tits and agree to meet up with him. Be Vriska. You are now Vriska. Vriska Snoop. What's this? Oh, they found the meteor, I guess. And that brings us to the final and most important part of this briefing. We've just received information from our surveillance division that person of interest John Egbert was just in contact with people of interests Calliope and Roxy Lalonde. This is regrettable, but it confirms one of our worst suspicions. From the conversation recovered from Egbert's phone, we've learned that Roxy has been conspiring alongside the rebels for months now. Operating a lab deep within the ruins of the Troll Memorial Meteor, she and her conspirator, Calliope, are preparing some kind of superweapon they've dubbed the Plot Point, herefore referred to as the Point. Though the Troll Meteor is situated halfway across the globe from the Lalonde residence, we've uncovered that she secretly makes her way to and from the lab via illegal transportalizer technology hidden in her home. We will shortly be charting a course for our fleet to the meteor in preparation for what very well may be our final battle against those flagitious rebels. They intended for this weapon to be operated or piloted by one of our recently captured Vriskas. Though the first is more of a nuisance than a threat, the other is an unpredictably dangerous, reckless antagonist. It goes without saying that keeping those volatile, voracious vixens under lock and key is of the utmost importance. I received word that we have our top men on the job, so we can rest easy knowing we won't have to worry about that. Now, without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, let's get to the point. That's pretty funny. Also, I really like this frame with like Vriska's smile and eye framing the points, and this is good. This is fun framing, but let's get to the point is really fucking funny because at this point it has been almost 3 years since this was going, and even when it was going, people were complaining about how nothing was fucking happening. Just the most like, all right, let's fucking make something happen. Let's make shit transpire. When I'm reading this, it's like so hard not to just smile because the writing feels so much more reminiscent of the writing style that made me love the original so much. And as much as I was trying to get used to the more sort of flowery, slow-paced prose of the original Homestuck 2, there's just nothing that beats the charm of the dialect and the pace of the original. And now we have the news post from the day of the update, Meet the Team by James. Hi, James here. You guys know me pretty well already. I am a simple person with a simple dream to topple the shogunate. I never knew how to pronounce that. I know what it is, but I never understood, like, because this is such a tangent. But anyway, this is a fucking Japanese word, right? Or it's Japanese, but is it an American word for a Japanese thing? Because if it was Japanese, you would be like, oh, that's like obviously shogunate. But it's not. I've never heard it pronounced like that. It's always been like shogunate or shogunite or something like that. What's the deal with that? What's the fucking etymology here? Anyway, moving on. And usher in a new era of Bushido. This is widely understood, but I thought I'd take some time to introduce the creative team behind HSBC. I've talked about the team, but just who the hell are these freaks? Our art director, Kim, is someone you might recognize from a handful of other Homestuck projects. His style is almost instantly recognizable and has helped define a lot of the look of more recent Homestuck era. Kim runs the art side of things like a well-oiled machine. He is organized and efficient. He spent so much time analyzing what makes Homestuck look so unique and leads style studies and art jams with the other team members. Kim's panels are dynamic and sharp, and he has been spearheading this sort of new fusion of old and new styles. He is also the one on the team that is least afraid to tell me when I'm not being funny. This project could not exist without him. I'm pretty sure I literally follow like all of these people on Blue Sky. I was going to say Twitter, but I don't really use Twitter anymore. Andy and I have also worked together on a number of things together, from Homestuck to personal projects. They're one of my favorite artists, and they are a well of creativity. Seeing their designs and sprite work gets me so excited for you guys to see it. They were one of the first people I tapped to draw for me, and their ability to style match is absolutely unparalleled. Andy worked with me on the first update and absolutely knocked it out of the park, even with my somewhat vague instructions. From character designs to style studies to story brainstorming, they sort of do it all. They also draw a lot of clowns in their free time. If that's not training, I don't know what is. In many ways, this project could not exist without them. If you've been around in the fandom for the last few years, you know Chumi already. The world's #1 Jade Harley fan. I just need to get my backpack here to show you that we went to a convention where Chumi was actually there selling some merch, and I got... God, how am I going to do this without fucking... All right, I'm just going to lift my whole ass bag up here, I guess. I got a Jade. Where's she at? Camera, hello. Please focus. It's not going to focus, is it? Please focus. It's not going to focus. Fucking Christ. Well, you saw her general outline. I got a Jade, and I also got this here rose. So I do know Chumi, and Chumi makes very fucking cute artwork. Their style is a little softer, and honestly, a little cuter, but they've really brought their A game to this project. We've done an upcoming update together, and I'm so excited for everyone to see it. Chumi chips in with design and does a lot behind the scenes clerical work too. She keeps us on task with check-ins and scheduling meetings. You could say this project could not exist without her. When Andrew asked me to assemble a team, Haven was the first person I brought up, and Andrew immediately agreed. Not only is Haven one of the most talented artists I know, but one of the funniest people I've ever met. Haven's panels are stylish and practically bursting with personality. Haven's writing is thoughtful and quick-witted. He has such a good understanding of the characters, and you can always count on him to get a laugh. He's constantly drawing the characters and posting them in the work chat. His passion and hard work energizes the rest of the team in such a way that I don't think this project could exist without him. Floral is the writer I had the least one-on-one experience with before the project started. She was recommended by several team members during pre-production. I read their work, and there is such a delicate and precise touch coupled with a clear and tremendous amount of care for the characters. I know they would be in good hands. Floral is creative and deliberate in their writing. They have clear vision of where the characters need to go and how to get them there. Their dialogue feels natural and really humanizes the cast. If you were to ask me, I don't think this project could happen without her. What can I say about Miles? Miles has known Andrew and I for years and has such a natural and charismatic charm to him. I knew him largely as a comedy writer before this, but seeing him pour himself into world building and plot mapping has really inspired me. Miles brings an important element to the team in that he's kind of a bro, the kind of guy that could probably best some kind of beast in singular combat. His favorite guys are Equius and Dirk. Oh my god. Yeah, you really need that kind of energy sometimes. Miles' writing is so full of character and charm. I'm excited for all of you to see what he has to offer. I personally think this project could not exist without him. Being on this side of things in this sort of role really makes me appreciate just how hardworking and creatively brilliant Andrew was. These are huge shoes to fill. We will do our best not only to finish the story we inherited, but to put our own spin on it as well. There are so many exciting things down the line that may take some time to get to while we do some cleaning up, resolve some loose threads, and establish story beats. I've been listening to feedback, and while I'm not actually taking suggestions, it is genuinely exciting to receive such an overwhelming response. It actually seems like a lot of people are sort of on the same page as the writing team, which is refreshing. I love seeing that you guys care as much as I do. It warms my icy little heart. In that capacity, this project could not exist without you. So what we got, I mean, it seems like all of them kind of help like brainstorm, put the story together, but it seems like Kim, Andy, and Chumi are mainly on the art side, whereas Haven, Floral, and Miles are mostly on the writing side. Cool. Got a good little team going on.